Hello, good morning everyone. We're just coming live today to share with you some really interesting top tips and a presentation by Darren Cavanagh from CreatiVegan. He is going to be sharing with us today an awesome presentation, so do make sure you tune in. There will be questions and answers at the end as well, so if you've got any questions with regards to creating video for your businesses and how to make them stand out, please do tune in and ask away. So I'm going to bring it to the screen now, Darren, to tell us a little bit about him and how he got into this. So welcome, Darren. Hi.
Hi, Joe. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. For people that are watching it live and people that are going to be watching it pre-recorded, thanks for your time on this Friday morning. And my name's Darren Cavanagh. I'm originally from Liverpool, and I basically worked in London for 23 years as a top creative director in a film marketing company. And in that time, 20 years, I did about 2,500 TV movie campaigns for DVD releases, corporate videos, etc., with a team of a lot of people. And we had big entertainment clients like Disney, Fox, Universal. And in that time, I learned a great deal about content marketing and storytelling. And the purpose of today's presentation is really to give you an insight into those techniques that big distributors use to market their content, but really that you can adapt this to your content as well. So don't worry that you're not Disney or a big client. All of these techniques are universal across creating content marketing. And I resigned from that job about 6 years ago and produced my own documentary. And since then, I've launched two new businesses. One's called Very CreatiVegan, which is me, and the other is Pinpoint Local Southwest Web Experts. But both of them still deal with online marketing and content marketing from a digital and a video standpoint. So I live in Glastonbury now with 2 cats and 2 rabbits. And I'm looking forward to visiting my mum in Liverpool. She's been a bit lonely since COVID-19. And I've always been a lover of storytelling and filmmaking since my father took me to see Jaws 45 years ago this year, would you believe? I was in cinemas.
Yeah.
And I was 7 years old. So there you go. You can do your math. You can see how old I am now. And
21 then, yeah. Perfect.
21. Well, I was basically stood in a queue to see Jaws, and I had the T-shirts. I was holding the rubber shark, and I didn't even know what a shark was. I mean, I'm 7 years old. And so unbeknownst to me, my mother was terrified of the ocean. And then the opening of that movie is basically a naked woman being eaten alive by a shark at night. And she was terrified. And so she's screaming at the screen and she's trying to block my eyes from seeing what's happening. And I'm like this, looking through my mother's eyes, and her hands go down after the first scene. And I'm literally riveted. I'm like, oh my God, look at the effect it had on my mum. And then literally in that moment, I just went, that's what I want to do with the rest of my life. And it was that defining for me. And still my favorite film to this day. I bought it on 4K recently, 45-year edition. So bless Steven Spielberg. I'll be talking a little bit about him later in a TV commercial I did for ET many years ago. But anyway, that's a little bit about me. I'm very excited to do this presentation for you all. It's going to last about 20 minutes. It's not going to be too long and hopefully not too boring. I'll make it as entertaining and as much as I can. There's one slide where I ask a few questions, and then if you would all kindly wait till the very end, then I'm going to open it up for any questions that you may have. So I'm ready to go, Joe, when you are.
Lovely. No, that's really good. I really appreciate you coming on to share it with us, because I think, as I said, we're all having to embrace the digital kind of evolution that's out there, isn't it? And storytelling is definitely the best way, I think, of getting across your message to your clients and doing it in a fun and creative way at the same time, isn't it? So yeah, let me bring on the add on the presentation. Here we go. So I recognize that. I was supposed to actually be going to Disneyland back in April. But hey, we'll wait a bit longer.
Have you been before, Joe?
I have, yeah, I love it. Yeah, we've been over to the one in Florida a couple of times and to Paris. So, yeah, my kids love it. Yeah, as a family, it's something that we really enjoy doing. So,
okay, so
I'll just make it full screen so everyone can see the full effect there. There we go.
Okay, everyone, here we go. So, interestingly, from this first slide, you'll see it says Walt Disney Pictures, and They went through a rebrand about 8-10 years ago, and now you'll know that they're just called Disney. They did away with the Walt. And there was two reasons for that. One, they didn't want it to be referred to actually to Walt Disney's name. Two, branding that has one word like Adidas, Nike, Disney, it's just easier to market. It's more memorable, and it just gave them more of a defined focus. You probably know that Disney own Pixar, they own Marvel films, and they own a lot of other brands as well. So it's also a rebranding for them. But when I used to work with them in my 20 years as a creative director, they were for a long time still called Walt Disney Pictures. That's why that's up for now. And the title of today's spotlight is Top Content Marketing Tips from the Mouse House that can be related to any business. So here we go. The focus really is, even though I'm going to be talking specifically about movie trailers and how they are put together, it's still content marketing. And I always like to take definitions from the dictionary just to really drive home what a thing is. Often we just try and figure things out, but literally just looking in the dictionary that tells it's a type of marketing that involves the creation and sharing of online material, such as videos, blogs, and social media posts that does not explicitly promote a brand, but is intended to stimulate interest in its products and services. So that's the key element, really. There are ads that you will see that explicitly promote a brand, and you'll probably be turned off by them because you just go, it's an ad, not interested. So there is a way of doing it where you want to be stimulating interest in your product and services. And that's really the key. That's the key takeaway from what I'm going to share with you today. And that's the power of content marketing. And one of the main secret superpowers you can have is storytelling. You know, historically, as human beings, we are one of the only species that really has an imagination to create story. A lot of history, a lot of what we learn, a lot of what we read in books has been created by that very thing. And that's why it holds such power for us in when you're watching something. So you probably will remember a book that you read or a TV show or a film that you watched as a kid, and you'll remember the story more than anything else. That's the thing that hooks you in. And so you can create a story out of anything. It doesn't have to be a big dramatic story about your life and all the things that's happened to you. Just find the story in what you're talking about. You'll be doing something at work today that will basically have its own story of why you're doing it. And that's a key thing to use all the time. So I'm going to talk more about that as we go on. And again, this is a graph that shows you basically how content marketing strategy can work from the steps at the bottom, working its way up to the top. I won't go into too much detail with this. I mean, you can basically see at the very bottom, that's where you're going to be you're basically trying to attract visitors, viewers to watch your video, to watch your content. And then as that gathers, as it goes up, there's different ways to do it. You can have newsletters, ebooks, blogs, webinars, and that conversion, people will be reduced as they go up the ladder. As you probably know, people need to see something 7 to 8 times before they'll actually buy. And that's where the interaction starts as you go further up the content strategy, all really leading up to requesting a proposal, getting somebody on the phone, having that connection with them. Video is great at doing that because people really like to watch video. I mean, it's almost 78 to 80% now of engagement online. It's actually gone up since COVID-19. And so that is a huge amount of eyes that are looking at video every day. So it's great to do posts with really engaging photographs and copy, but video is king. Right, so the name of today's spotlight is 8 top Hollywood tips on how to make a great movie trailer that's not rubbish. And the theme is content marketing. A little bit about me again. I'm a vegan film director, been a digital consultant now for 26 years. You've seen how many marketing campaigns are produced, and now I run my own 2 businesses in Glastonbury. That's actually me on top of the tour, jumping up in the air, not in the sky. It's not Photoshop, by the way. So again, a lot of my images you'll see on my site, they're done in such a way so you just remember them instantly. It's not that I'm trying to show off. It's just make something that's memorable, show something that's different. Be unique, stand out as much as you can. You'll see my logo as well. The Very CreatiVegan looks a little like MailChimp, a little nod to that. Thank you for that. And again, I wear my cap when I go to meetings when I'm online. It's partly because I'm a director and it's a little nod to Spielberg, but it's hope it's people remember me. I've been in a lot of networking meetings, and people will often say before they say my name, "Oh, is that dude with the cap on?" And that's the whole purpose of why I do it. Again, a few of the films I've worked on over the 20 years. Again, showing my age, I actually worked on The Lion King, the very first film, many, many years ago. That was, I think, our second campaign that we did for Disney. But a whole slew of different films in there, from Trainspotting to The English Patient to Kill Bill to Insidious. You know, what you'll see here is a whole mixture of genres, from horror movies to drama to animation. But the tips that I'm going to show you today, they all work across these different genres, and that's the thing to keep in mind. Again, a few more later films, documentaries like Senna, The Hunger Games, The Woman in Black. And so just to give you a real insight into, you know, the range of work that I've done and the tips that I'm going to give you now, and how strong they are for your content. So before we begin, I just want to find something out about you. I mean, it's weird doing webinars because I can't see you and I can't hear you, but I'd really be great to know, to ask you a few questions. So who has seen WALL-E already? For those of you who have or haven't, I'm not going to really spoil it for you. And I wonder who is using content marketing in their businesses and who uses video. So I don't know if, Joe, if you have anyone putting up any comments on those questions right now. Are you there, Joe?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Gotcha.
I'm back in the room. Absolutely. Fun and games. Right. Okay. So bear with me 1 second. So let's have a look. See, I haven't got any questions coming up yet. So let's have a look. See. 1 second. So yeah, we're streaming this in 2 different places at the moment. So I've got a few people watching. So can anyone put a little like or a love heart? Obviously, if you have seen Disney's WALL-E already. Oh, there we go. I've got a couple of likes coming in there, Darren.
Great.
Exciting stuff.
All right. Well, it's good to know that some of you watch. That's the main thing.
That is the main thing, yeah, definitely.
Don't worry that content marketing, again, can be viewed as many things. And just the fact that you're on social media now and that you put up a post, that is content marketing in its simplest but purest form. And moving up to video and webinars and other things, it's still content, and you're still marketing your business.
I've got a couple of people messaging now. It says obviously there's a little bit of a delay, obviously, from that, but people typing in. So yeah, I've got one person here that says, I was at the premiere of WALL-E in Leicester Square.
Brilliant.
Watch the film. Yeah, watch the film and content marketing, but not using video right now. Another one that said, I've seen WALL-E. And another one saying, yeah, I've seen WALL-E, tried to use content marketing, but haven't used video. I think it's kind of one of those things as well that people can be a little bit scared of going on video sometimes, isn't it, for all time? But again, it's using kind of, yeah, you don't necessarily have to have your own face on there, is it? So yeah, it's interesting to see what you come up with.
I'll talk more to that, to people's particular situation at the very end. But that's great to see that some people are watching it. I was at that premiere too, so whoever that is, we have been sat close to one another. It's a small world, who knows? Okay, I'll carry on. So so again, with content marketing, it's whenever you do a post, it's like, who is it? You know, what is that thing? So again, to focus particularly on WALL-E. WALL-E was a really, really difficult film for Disney to market for a number of reasons. The first being that the film, almost for the first 20 minutes, there's no dialogue whatsoever. It's like a silent movie. And so, again, it's like this character who WALL-E actually stands for Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class. So, again, it's not the kind of thing that kind of trips off the tongue. And it's a lot of people don't even know that that's what his name stands for. But the plot basically is, after 700 years, he's outlasted his fellow robots and he's left on Earth to clean up the huge environmental mess left by us, who have fled Earth, and they basically live on a luxury spaceship. So even to this day, the story was pretty far out there from an environmental and a family film standpoint. And I think it's more relevant today than it ever is in terms of what's going on with climate change and everything else. And cleverly, Pixar's films are extremely well animated and are entertaining, but the story usually has this different level, this subplot of meaning. And WALL-E particularly, we were brought on in the very early stages of the marketing because Disney were like, okay, because they can't determine what Pixar are going to make. Pixar will make the films that it's going to make.
Yeah.
And then when Andrew Stanton turns up at Disney and says, well, my next film is called WALL-E, and it's about a robot who doesn't speak. He's cleaning up our mess on Earth, and all the humans are on a luxury spaceship. You can imagine what their faces were like.
It's very different, isn't it, compared to some of the other films they've put out there? But yeah.
And so that's partly the challenge that we're faced with. And I'll go into the solutions that we came up with to address that moving forward. And so this is what I'm going to show you today are the 8 top content marketing tips on how to create a memorable movie trailer, focusing on the lovely WALL-E, of course.
Meet WALL-E, the most advanced robot in the world. We built him, we left him, and now
Earth is in trouble.
we need him. Disney Pixar presents
WALL-E.
the next generation of hero. Disney Pixar's WALL-E, in cinemas Friday.
Okay, I hope those of you who had sound could watch that and could follow what was going on. Again, it's a short TV commercial that sums up a lot of what was going on in terms of it's WALL-E setting up his name. He's on Earth on his own. It's saying he's, the most intelligent robot in the world, which clearly he is, but he's also a lot of fun, and at times he's a bit silly and daft. But then it sets up that Earth is in trouble. We need his help, and that he's a new kind of hero. And again, what's going on in that short time span? It's very much the storytelling. Earth, WALL-E, Earth's in trouble. He's the hero, the unlikely hero. And again, as short as that is, that story and calling him that hero, that will then work across the entire marketing campaign for WALL-E. And you'll see that's partly, it's short, it's sweet. People's attention span when they're watching TV commercials, you really need to drive home the story straight away in terms of what's happening. And it's surprising how quick we pick up on these things. And you can do that when you're talking about your business. It's try to watch out for waffling too much. You want to basically set up with the issue about what the problem is of your client and talk to your avatar, as it were. We're not talking about avatar now, we're talking about WALL-E. But for those of you who understand what an avatar is, it's basically a fancy word for understanding your client and customer. And that's just really getting into their dialogue, thinking what their problems are, speaking directly to that. And then a little further down, telling them about you. That's your story, and then how you can come up with a solution. WALL-E in that TV commercial did that by saying this is where he is. He's on Earth. He's a robot, and Earth is in trouble, and he's going to help people because he's a hero. So that's how it does that in that very short TV spot. You'll also see at the end that there's a call to action saying WALL-E's in cinemas. It's not that he's on DVD. It's not that he's at a festival. It's very specific, and this is what you always need to remember. The thing I see the most in people's videos is that they don't put a really clear and concise call to action at the end of their video saying, this is how to get in touch with me. This is how to get a hold of me. Go to this website, do this. Because people need to be told really clearly what to do at the end. And that's the thing that people often missing out on. But when you're doing a TV commercial, it costs tens of thousands of pounds, even more sometimes. You have to say to people, it's in cinemas on Friday, and this is how you're going to see this movie. So top trailer tip number 2, story is key with an engaging beginning, middle, and end. Again, I kind of did it there by talking about setting WALL-E up, his character, that he's the most intelligent robot, saying that Earth is in trouble, and then that he's going to help it, and have a defining end to what your copy is. And you can do this. I'd really recommend writing scripts when you're going to do a video that's anything over a minute long. I'm a big fan for people that do Facebook Live and are really confident of just pointing the video at themselves and filming what they're talking about. If you want to do that, that strategy is great, but always keep thinking of, even before you do it, what is the thing I'm going to start talking about straight away? What's the main content of this video going to be, and how am I going to end it? Always be thinking of that when you're going, and it will give you natural breaking points as you're talking. You will find a point where you're going, okay, I've done the beginning. I now need to go into the middle. You'll just, when you get used to doing that, that's when you're doing it live. But particularly if you're editing a video or you're working on a script and you're producing something that you can spend more time on, then you can really hone the beginning, middle, and end. But it's key to do that. Look, it's basic narrative storytelling, but again, it's just driving that home as tip number 2. Tip number 3, create suspense, wonder, and excitement. A lot of trailers that you see, they don't tell you a lot about the plot. I know people complain about trailers from the US show you too much. There's a reason for that. Hollywood spend literally millions of dollars on the movie, and the trailer is the first thing that the world sees for that film. So they get very nervous that you're not going to want to go see that movie. So particularly in America, they make trailers that tend to show you a lot. And the reason they're doing that is it's almost like they want more people to go see the film than people to get annoyed that they're showing them too much of the movie. It's such a huge investment for them. That's a lot of the times, that's the big reason when you see a trailer that sometimes you feel like, oh, I've seen the whole movie now. But the trailer still is the most watched marketing tool for a film of all the content. So it really, and they spend literally millions of dollars on those trailers. So in the UK, we would often get very long trailers from the US, and we tend to get them down to 90 seconds. I feel that a trailer that's over 2 minutes is way too long. I'm a big fan of teaser trailers. You've probably seen those that are basically just a real glimpse of the movie that don't tell you anything. They're the ones that really do create suspense and wonder very early on in the campaign. And this is something that you can do with your content. If you're working on an online course or you have something to offer and it's not quite ready, it's like a month or 2 months from being finished, literally just put a shot across the bow. Tell people that something's coming. This is what it's going to be, that you're really excited about it. And just that in itself starts to gain traction and gain engagement. Okay, top tip number 4, ask questions and create mystery. People often don't realize that when they're watching a trailer, a lot of the captions that come up are basically posing a question, and then that you don't get the answer. It basically says, this person is doing that. This is the jeopardy. This is what's going to happen. And then the trailer basically ends. And so that keeps you watching, because if the trailer was basically saying, this is what's going on, this is what you're going to find out, and this is how it ends, it's really not that interesting. And the way you do that is ask questions. Ask questions to your clients, to your audience. Again, seems really basic, but again, you just want to understand what's going on for your clients and your audience. And when you watch trailers next, just see how they do that. See how the captions or the voiceover basically is asking you a question. It's setting up a statement, but it's not telling you what's going to happen next. Tip number 5, connection is key. Creating a memorable message. Copy lines in movies, you probably all know the famous one from Jaws 2, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the ocean. That's a copy line. For WALL-E, there was a great one that was done by another agency that wasn't us, that it said, in space, everyone can hear you clean. And it basically had WALL-E with his vacuum cleaner hoovering up on the planet. For those of you in the know, that's a very famous copy line from the film Alien, where it says, in space, no one can hear you scream. And again, that's what a copy line is. It's creating a different level of connection with the story and with the film. And I've had a lot of fun with these over the years. Again, when you're out and about, look at where you see copy lines for movies, jot the ones down that you like, see which ones that you don't like. But sometimes people remember the copy line more than they do the actual movie. And again, you can do this in your headline. You can write a headline that basically is giving people a hint of what you're talking about, and be as clever and memorable as you want. Cosmopolitan magazine and other websites that have really engaging headlines, you can go and research them and see which ones score the most online. But again, notice your activity online, see what you engage with, see what you find memorable. And I always recommend creating like a scratch folder on your desktop and just save stuff into that folder that you come across that you think works really well. And you can always refer back to it. It can give you some great insights and brainstorm when you're working on your own brands. But again, it's not like you're effectively stealing. I mean, there's so much content out there. See which content for you just sticks out above the noise. Top trailer number 6, throw in a few laughs, be human and not a robot. And that's that image there that had the copy line in space, no one can hear you clean. And again, bless his heart, WALL-E, you know, he's such an adorable character in the film. And you'll see, again, he was very, very difficult to market. So what we did, because he doesn't speak until about midway in the movie, that just like E.T., we have a lot of people say his name in the TV commercial, like WALL-E, WALL-E, WALL-E. And again, it's just to drive home his name. Very similar to E.T. You know, people, E.T. didn't say a lot in the movie. People go away from that movie saying, you know, be good, E.T. And clearly he has, there's a nod to E.T. in him as a character. The reason to do that, again, it's just to humanize him because he's a robot and make him more memorable. And again, that was one of the reasons that we did that. Humor, people just love to laugh. People, it breaks down so many barriers to put in a few giggles. And again, you're thinking, well, my business is quite serious. I'm an accountant. You know, I do building. How can I? But just be yourself. There will be something that would have happened at work. Something would have, you know, gave you a laugh. Just share that with people. It's surprising that when we put our business hat on, or when we think we need to engage with people or sell something, we have to be really serious. We have to be the experts. We've got to tell people all these things that we know. And sometimes we just miss out on telling a gag, being real, just relating to people. And certainly in this current climate, we could all do with a laugh or two, let's be honest. So again, don't be afraid of stepping over the line and stepping out your comfort zone sometimes and creating a few laughs. Top tip number 7, editing, pace, music, make an impact. Clearly in the ads that I'm showing you now, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into how they're edited, the pace of them. A lot of the ads are tested at, we have audiences that watch them and give feedback. Again, Disney do this on so many of their trailers and campaigns. They will literally have 50 to 100 families view various contents and agree on certain scenes. We would get a brief on a movie and say, you have to have this scene, that scene. And the only reason they're telling us to do that is because they've done audience testing on their content. Clearly, a lot of us don't have that expense to be able to do it, but you can test certain content. You can have the same story, but put a different headline, put a different photograph, put it onto your Facebook and see which one gets more engagement. Again, you can do that with anything. That's basically a shorter, you know, budget version of doing your own audience testing. And I'm sure anyone out there who has a funnel via your website, via a lead generation list where you're taking your clients or your customers through to buy something, you can test funnels, you can test certain content and pictures. Pace is good. I mean, hopefully I'm not talking too fast. I am from Liverpool, so we do tend to speak a bit fast up north, as it were. Again, music in TV spots is really important. I mean, you'll see in the Ambition Growth Network trailer that I just did for Joe and Carly, I gave some tracks of music to Joe to choose from, and it's a particularly emotive piece, but it also has a pace that hits with the imagery, hits with the captions, and again, that's to keep you watching. It's surprising when you just add a little bit of music to something, how it takes away the dryness to the whole experience. And you can have a lot of fun with it, but don't go too overboard. I have actually seen a lot of videos where people have found a piece of music, they've got really attached to it, and it literally drowns them out. You know, it becomes too much. So just have it literally low in the background on if it's going to work for that piece of content. And again, all of this makes an impact in terms of what you're doing. The last tip, top 8, it's leave the audience waiting and wanting more, not less. So again, hopefully I've done that. I've kind of done a quick fire top tips in trailers. Again, some of them you may have known, some of them you may not have known, but basically I'm going to leave it there in terms of what I'm going to talk about. And that's to give you just an insight to think, oh, well, that's really interesting. I'd like to know more about that. We can ask questions at the end. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run another 3 commercials that I produced for other movies. But when you're watching them this time, do watch them differently. Often when we're in the cinema or we're watching television or we're online and we watch an ad, we watch it and we become that passive audience. We get sucked into the message. It finishes, it makes us, it connects with us, or if it doesn't, but we often don't watch them and think, what's that copy line doing? What's that music doing? What story is being told? What is the call to action? Is that being used effectively? And so when you watch what I'm going to show you now, try to resist to get sucked into the ad and to enjoy it. I mean, you can by all means. I hope you will. That's the whole point. But look out for the techniques that I've mentioned in these 8 top tips. So I hope that was of value and of interest. So I'm going to run a few of these TV commercials. One is for Wallace and Gromit DVD release. I had Tom Baker do the voiceover in that session, and it was the most hilarious 2 hours of my life. The guy is an absolute comedian. There's another one for Disney's Up. You will notice that one is particularly long, and it has a lot of the movie in there, and it practically uses every technique in the book. But that was a very long commercial that was before a Euro Cup final on Sky TV. And Disney, I think, between you and I think they paid £220,000 just for the ad spend. We didn't earn that from editing the commercial. I wish we had. But literally just for that ad spend, for that 60-second commercial break, that's what they would have spent on it. So clearly it has a lot of humor. It has a lot of the movie in there. And it was just before the film was being released. And I think it maybe had 8 or 9 million views on that 60-second TV spot. So it was a big deal. And then the 2 others, there's a TV spot for E.T. When it initially came out on DVD many years ago. That was the first time it came out on DVD. Steven Spielberg, he couldn't find a creative agency that were doing the film justice. And so I actually presented to Universal to say, well, we need to just speak to people, go to the high street, ask people why they love E.T. and just do a Vox Pops commercial. That's the thing I want to stress most when you're watching these. Testimonials for your business are one of the best content marketing tools and strategies you can use. If you've got a number of clients who really liked working with you, who are willing to give you a quote, ideally, if they're happy to be filmed on video, brilliant, even better. Use that wherever you can. And you'll see in the ET commercial, literally we went to the streets of Kingston in Surrey and we spoke to a lot of families and asked them why they loved ET. And we just intercut that in the movie, sent that to Universal and Spielberg, and he absolutely loved it. I mean, he said, this is what was needed to release my film. And that from that small 30-second commercial, we ended up working with Universal for about 10 years, and they turned into a huge client for us. And look, I'm a huge Steven Spielberg fan. I actually ended up working on Schindler's List and Jaws and a whole bunch of his other movies for the home entertainment release. So it was a huge win for me and a kind of peak in my content marketing career. And then the final TV spot I'm going to share with you is for Bond's Skyfall, that again just uses really clever captions. It uses Adele's amazing song and the visuals from, still, I think it's the biggest British movie in cinema history, is Skyfall. And again, I hope these are entertaining to end this presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it. And again, watch out for those techniques as I run them now.
On October 9th, Carl Fredrickson's life is about to take off.
So long, boys!
But what he didn't count on was who would be coming along
Please let me in.
No.
for the ride.
All right. Now let go!
Thought you were dead.
Journey to an amazing lost world
Where are we? It's so beautiful.
with a host of hilarious characters.
What is that thing?
Look, a dog.
Hi there. I have just met you, and I love you.
Squirrel!
Hi there.
Can we keep him, please, please, please?
No.
But it's a talking dog.
And discover the most uplifting adventure of the year is also one of the best animated movies ever.
When you get up there, hoist me up. You on the porch yet?
Pixar, the makers of Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., and Finding Nemo proudly presents their 10th movie together and in Disney Digital 3D.
Get him!
They're coming! Run!
It's smart,
Oh boy!
funny,
Whoa, cool!
tremendous,
Beat it! Samus! Hey, that's mine!
it's a terrific family adventure.
What do these do, boy?
If you could acuerdo contigo, Tashiwa, honey, I would be happy if you stopped.
Nothing short of a modern-day masterpiece.
Squirrel! Squirrel! Where?
If you're looking for adventure, look up.
Does anyone know where they are?
Disney Pixar's Up.
Oh boy, a ball!
You want a
Oh,
boy?
I do ever so want the ball.
Go get
I
it!
will get it and then bring it back.
In cinemas everywhere, October 9th. Also showing in Disney Digital 3D.
Whew, see, there's a lot in that one.
That was a quick one. Love it.
And again, call to action, cinema, and also showing in digital 3D. Again, really key to get those call to actions in at the end. Okay, here's the next one.
By heck, it's Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit on DVD. Get your copy tomorrow.
Fantastic! Spiffing news!
Own it forever and ever on a 2-disc 24-carat special edition.
Just like I promised.
There's an overgrown vegetable plot,
There may be a large rabbit dropping!
and someone's trying to get their hands on Lady Tottington's melons.
It's gone mad around here.
It's one of the biggest hits of last year. On a DVD bursting with homegrown extras.
Kiss my artichoke! Come on, Gromit, a bit more alluring.
Grab it on DVD tomorrow.
Yeah, there's Tom Baker. Real pro. Hilarious. Okay, next is E.T.
Families still agree he's the most loved creature in the universe.
Everybody loves E.T. Really emotional film.
Now he needs a new home,
I'm keeping him.
I remember crying. I think it's magical. It's timeless.
and only you can make it happen.
You can watch it over and over again.
By owning for the first time all the magic of Spielberg's classic on DVD in a 2-disc special edition.
Great family film.
I'd love to take E.T. home.
The very special edition of E.T., yours to keep forever.
Okay, folks, I hope that gave a few goosebumps along the way. It's really relying on quotes and from people and audiences because, again, it's social proof. You know, if you're seeing that a film has 5 stars, generally the public believe that. It's not the film marketing company telling you that you should go see the movie. It's basically the public saying, we think this film is awesome. This is why you should go and see it. So that's one of the key things we always use. And again, relate that to your business. If you've got clients that have enjoyed working with you, get them as much as you can to give you a review as much as possible.
Brilliant.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll create some great content, and that's it. If you've got any questions, fire away.
Fantastic. So a couple of little questions came through just at the beginning there before you showed the video. But yeah, I've got one here from Hayley Brown. And she says, how do you source your music?
Yeah, there's a lot of free library music that you can get online. So I use video blocks and audio blocks. They are paid subscriptions, but literally for audio blocks, you can get free. I think it's maybe £9 a month, and you can download free tracks a month. You can get more if you want, but honestly, the quality of those tracks that you can download is as good as you would hear in any movie trailer. It used to be very difficult and very expensive to get really decent library music, but thankfully in the past 4 or 5 years, with more people advertising online, and literally you can just go to YouTube and Google free royalty tracks. And on YouTube, there are a lot of composers out there who create amazing cinematic tracks, and all they require, some of them, if you use the track on your YouTube channel as your content, they just want you to put a link and saying that the music was used. So basically, it's a way for people to go to their website to download other music. So there are many free royalty ones out there, and the ones where you do pay, it's not that expensive anymore. So there you go.
Yeah, fantastic, lovely.
Also, if you know somebody who composes music really well and they're looking for work, you know, a lot of there's so many great composers who want to have their work featured for free, And a lot of them, particularly if you're if you're getting a lot of engagement in your business, for them it's free marketing to have that music track in there as well. So you can do some good deals with people. But I do like to pay composers, money for licensing, because I do like to support that side of the industry. But I know a lot of people are on a budget, so Google free, royalty-free music.
Fantastic, that's lovely. I'm just having a look back through, obviously, on here as well. So, yeah, if anyone does have any other questions they would like to ask Darren. I've got a couple of nice little comments. One from Grace chatting here saying, brilliant. Another one from Colin Warden saying, good morning. And, yes, loads of people saying hello. And, obviously, yeah, thank you so much for doing that. But, yeah, I can't see any other questions coming in at the moment. Obviously, after we finish this, as I said, obviously it will be saved, so obviously people can watch it later as well, which is great. In our Ambition Growth Network, it'd be really good to put those tips in there as well, so that people can obviously look at that when they are coming to creating the video aspect for marketing. And yeah, we'll share our video that you helped us create for the launch of our new membership group. So really appreciate what you helped.
I really appreciate the opportunity of being able to talk about these things. We often spend a lot of time just in front of computer screens and creating this stuff. We very rarely talk about it. So it's quite I love it. I really do love doing it. So it's a lot of fun to share some of the secrets.
Fantastic. Yeah, Lizzie Melvin says, really interesting tips. And Kerry Woodcock, fantastic presentation. Thank you, Darren. So it's nice to get some good feedback on it. And as I said, yeah, I think the more people try and engage and present via video, as I said, obviously, yeah, the more traction you'll get, and it's talking directly to your target audience as well, isn't it? So just before we wrap up, obviously, with regards to using video, what would be your tips, as I said, as a business owner in today's kind of society? Where would be the best places to share it? On social media, websites, YouTube? How do we get to our...
I think the first thing is you absolutely need to use it. So work out from a strategic point of view how you want to use it and do it as soon as possible. And you don't have to be on camera. Like you'll notice a lot of webinars, it's just the person in front of a mic and they've got a really well presented, just like I've done. You didn't see me talking through that presentation. All you could hear was my voice, but you're seeing content that I've created. You can do that. You can create a PowerPoint, record yourself on video. And there are a number of platforms that will do that, that will record your audio and what you're showing on screen and then share that as a video. If you really don't want your face to be part of the brand, then that's something that you can do. And that's really effective. Again, it's you talking to your audience. And again, I really would recommend, I mean, I waited a long time for Apple the new iPhone 11 Pro literally does everything in terms of the audio quality, the picture quality. I mean, I've been an Apple user since the very first Mac that came out. In my whole career, it spanned, there wasn't even the internet when I started 26 years ago. So interestingly, even The Lion King, we edited on SVHS. And we literally hand wrote the time codes, and then we would go to an edit suite in the West End of London, and then we would have worked with an online editor who had these huge U-matic tapes that he got from Disney to edit the TV spot. But in that whole time, the digital revolution, on non-linear editing, all these online edit suites that you can get now came. And so to be able to edit your own content, years ago, you couldn't do that. It would have cost you hundreds or tens of thousands of pounds. But we all have this capability now. So the tools are there, but it's really important to get the techniques down and just know that however simple your content is, keep those techniques at the forefront of your mind when you're doing it. And if you've got fear, if you're stepping out of a comfort zone, say that in your video. Say, this is the first video that I'm doing today. I'm really nervous about it, but this is what I want to express. This is what I want to tell you about. Try to avoid having, your bedroom or a really nasty background behind you. Stand in daylight. If you don't have any lights, standing near a window is some of the best natural light that you can have. And again, you can invest in a microphone on Amazon for like £14 to £30 that you can plug into your phone. That's another key thing. The audio has to be really clear. And also look at other businesses that are in your niche and who are using video and see what you like, see what they're doing, see if that works for you, and then, emulate something that's similar to that. But the main thing I would do is start it yesterday. Do it as soon as you can, step through that comfort zone, produce it. And also, it definitely is worth investing a bit of money if you want a high-end promo that's got imagery and music and captions, something that I would produce like I have done for Joe and Carly. Something like that can go a long way in just showing that you're using video effectively. It can just add a level of production value to your business that just filming yourself or just you or having your logo doesn't necessarily do. And again, I would highly recommend you set up a YouTube channel. Very easy. Google how to do that online, and that can be a platform then that you can upload videos to. And then you've got a URL that you can basically link to your website. So your website can stream any videos on your YouTube channel then, and you can do that on Facebook. But the last tip I would say with Facebook and video, Facebook want you to be uploading videos directly to the Facebook platform, not uploading links to YouTube. You can do that, but Facebook own Instagram and Google own YouTube. So they are the two biggest competitors in the digital world. So one doesn't like to promote the other, even though that you can still cross-pollinate links, etc. But that's just another thing. If you share a link from YouTube onto Facebook, it will share it with less people just for the very fact that it's YouTube. So I would do that, but I'd also advise putting that video on Facebook as well. You'll notice as soon as you put a video, just do a test on Facebook. Do it today or tomorrow. Talk about how you're doing, what's been going on in your week, how your business has been, any success stories, and see how many engagements that gets compared to a post that you've been putting up.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, actually, isn't it? And I sort of see some people that have been using video for a long time have, got some really good success with that. I know a few people in our group, we were talking last night in our membership group about accountability. I know quite a few people in the group have chosen, obviously, to start doing videos. So Sven said that he's going to have a look-see and obviously get on his video script for later for his new video that he's looking at doing. And I know Gav was talking about doing a video every day. So, I'm looking forward to seeing more and more videos coming forward and, making sure that they take on board some of the tips that you've talked about there from that point of view. I even managed to set up our own YouTube channel. So I'm hoping the video that you've created for us can be our first one on there. And, we'll share it into the group later and it'd be good for everyone to go and have a look at that. So, fantastic.
The one thing I think I haven't stressed is create content that is valuable to people. So if you're an accountant, if you do building or, you do cleaning, there will be something that you do in that job that's like a top tip, like I've just shared, and just share a top tip. That can have a beginning, middle, and end as well. Say, today I'm going to teach you, how to, write a really good will, or how to, how to get the best quote on building, or how to, if you're selling a car. I mean, whatever that tip is, just putting that in a short video. People really like that. YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world next to Google. People are going on there basically to learn things. Clearly, they go on there to watch a lot of content, but generally people are going to YouTube to learn how to do things. So even that smallest tip that you're giving someone, on a daily basis, or if you do it like 2-3 times a week, that will get engagement. People will be appreciative that you're actually telling them something that is useful. And that over time, the more you do that, the more people get used to seeing you do that. They will keep coming back to that content over and over and over again. So ask yourself, is this valuable? Is this useful? If it is, then by all means, share it.
Fantastic. That's really good. Love that. Love that. There's a couple of other little messages that have come in, obviously, while you've been talking there. So Lizzie has asked, where do I find she says Audi recording facility, but audio recording facility?
Yeah, a microphone for the phone, is that the question?
It says, where would I find that audio recording facility?
For the phone, just go to Amazon and Google whatever your phone is, Samsung or Apple. Just say microphone for whatever your phone type is, and it will show you microphones that you can purchase.
That's good.
If that's what the question is being asked.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure on that one. But Kerry's also said that she likes the idea of presenting with a voiceover. So on quite a lot of the trailers and stuff like that, obviously they have voiceovers, which is quite a good way of doing it as well, isn't it? So Fantastic. Lovely.
Yeah, the power of the voiceover. I mean, I had the pleasure of working with all those guys who in cinemas now.
You could have a really good, powerful voice.
Those guys just, smoke lots of Marlboros and drive from one session to another. But there's a real skill in doing it. And you'll notice a lot of cinema trailers very rarely use voiceovers. It's generally used for television and online, whereas a lot of cinema trailers will tend to want to use dialogue from the movie, captions, and music, just because it feels more cinematic. Because often when we do hear that voiceover, we do tend to kind of lean back a bit and think, I'm being sold something here. But you doing it yourself and talking about value and your business, that's great. Be your own voiceover artist. Have a lot of fun with it. The thing I forgot to mention was, I know I've talked a lot about movies and you're probably thinking, well, how does this relate to me? But basically your business, think of it as a movie. If it was going to be turned into a movie or turned into a brand, how would you market it? Often we kind of put our business hat on and we think, well, it isn't particularly that interesting or entertaining. But why not? Think about if it were a film. Think about if it were a book. Think about if it were something on that level, how would you then market the business? And so it just gives you a different way of thinking about how to do things. And it kind of sometimes takes the straitjacket off of thinking, well, it has to be a certain way. Have some fun with it. I mean, it's all a test. You've got nothing to lose and a lot to win. And people will like to see video. They like to see you. They like to hear you. They like to have an identity of that person and the business that they're potentially going to engage with and hopefully spend money with you with in the future.
Fantastic. Oh, that sounds really good, Darren. Really appreciate that. And as I said, we're looking at putting out on YouTube, obviously later on this afternoon, our kind of promo video for our Ambition Growth Network. So,
shall I come out of the screen now, Joe?
We're back on screen. Yeah, there's the two. So yeah, that is.
Oh, there we go. I've been talking down to the mic. I didn't know.
Don't worry. Oh, we're loving it.
Anyway, I'm talking about video and I didn't even know I was on it. There you go.
No, sorry. There you go. Pay attention.
The other thing is the camera on my desktop is up here. So now I'm looking at it. I'm looking at everyone that's speaking to me. Whereas I'm looking at you here.
It's tricky, isn't it? Yeah.
So again, I'll grab my phone. Where did I put it? Where's my phone? Just 1 second. There it is. So again, if you're looking into your desktop, you want to be looking at the camera that's at the top, or if they're generally there. But again, particularly when you're filming yourself, I mean, I've got the iPhone 11, so the camera lens is actually there. So when I have it this way around and I'm filming myself here, you need to remember that the camera itself is about here. On the front. So we all tend to film ourselves from the front, but it's really difficult to not look at yourself when you're filming, and you don't do that. You need to be looking over here to where the camera lens is. And there's a technique. It's kind of weird to get used to it, but practice, film yourself, just do a test and look back, and then look at your eye contact and make sure that it's looking at someone. There's nothing more distracting like I just did then you engaging with your audience and you're not looking them directly in the eye. So I'll end this by actually looking at you all.
Looking straight in there. Fantastic. Lovely. Super stuff, Darren. Thank you ever so much. And really appreciate, obviously, you sharing all your top tips with us today. Lovely. Right. Well, I'll say goodbye and I'll pop you in the back thing. And
look forward to seeing people's video content. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Darren. Oh, brilliant. That was fantastic. Really appreciate, obviously, Darren spending the time to share with us all his top tips from that point of view. So we will be putting some content out on YouTube today. So first ever video on YouTube. So it'd be really great if you can come and have a little watch of our wonderful video. Give it a like and a comment. That'd be awesome. And we'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.